welcome back to the Big Show. Mia Chambray, I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, do not forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Folks, we're a bit behind, but we're going to make up time because we have a very important guest. We're former, teammates and the team we cheered for. I've taken a step back from my role as a Manchester United fan, but I believe he still is. But let's give a warm TDH welcome to the Executive Director of the Bermuda Cricket Board, Cal Blankendal. Greetings, sir. What's happening?
Yes, good morning, Jamel. Good morning, Mia.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me on for the Bermuda Cricket Board to let the general public know what we're trying to do in 2025 and beyond. And that was a pretty decent Manchester United joke.
Yeah. Hey, look, Cal, you and I used to talk football a lot, man. I can't do it anymore. My heart's not, it's been torn up and burned and stomped on with football boots over the last 10 years. So, man, it's not easy being a fan these days.
And you should have said, why do footballers carry two pairs of socks? Because if you're a Manchester United baller, you probably get a hole in both pairs.
At this rate, yeah, these days. But hey, man, thank you for joining us. I got to ask you before we jump into anything cricket related. Are you a waffle or a pancake guy?
Both.
Okay, all right.
But I hardly eat any of them. So, but on the odd occasion.
Okay.
What you put on these days doesn't come off anymore. So
my point got me here eating berries and apples and stuff. I'm like, man, I'm jealous of her son Gunnar. He got a waffle and all this. Anyway, but hey, look, again, thank you for joining us. Real quickly before we jump into the conversation, just remind people of your role within the Bermuda Cricket Board.
Executive director, so managing finance, operations, anything to do with cricket domestically, internationally, besides the coaching aspects and the technical development of players. All lands in my seat. There's a party of two. Samantha Robinson, who's been here for close to 18 years, who's more like the operational manager and league management, basic administration, and then myself dealing with sponsors, international bodies, clubs locally, etc. But, for staff of two, we're all in it together. So there's really a limited separation of what happens. I defer to her quite often because she's been here for quite a number of years. So she's seen the circle of the wagon go around quite a number of times. So when I think I have a new idea, she's like, we've done and tried that before, let's do something else. But whatever relates to cricket domestically for clubs is the BCB, county games, cup match, events such as the Smash are not BCB managed, but we do offer our support in the background if requested.
Indeed. And audience, if you have any questions or comments for Mr. Blankendal, please send them through. We'll get through as many as possible. A lot has been said about the state of cricket. I think as many people go to, you mentioned cup match for the entertainment, there is still a cricket game that takes place. And for those who are cricket lovers, they use that as a way of measuring the state of local cricket. And it hasn't been positive in recent years. How would you, as the executive director, describe the state of cricket in Bermuda today?
I'm going to try to give a few explanations to make it easy for the listening public or viewing public. And no slight, Rugby Classic is an annual event. We all go if we wish to participate, whether it's for the event itself, the rugby, food and beverage, or networking. But after that week, you don't see that highlighted. 24th of May brings everyone together out on the street. We're celebrating. After that, everyone goes back their own way. We will have a Smash event for a week-long activity, and you probably have anywhere from 800 persons at the ground for a week. But after that, when you go to local cricket games, you may see 50 to 60 individuals at a particular match, unless it's a popular game between Bayless Bay and St. David's or St. George's and St. David's. So that is the state of cricket. That it's there, it's present, it has its peaks, it has its lows. The game continues to get played, but it's not as a vibrant event on a weekly basis. But it does offer the development of young men and women, and most importantly, those that are technically sound have the opportunity to advance and represent Bermuda on the international stage, and that's where the BCB comes in. And that's the fact of cricket and most sports. Even when I was heavily in football, There was a time when I was 12 years old, there was 3,000 people to the game.
Mhm.
And you got 1,500. And now if you go to a North Village and Denny Town, if you get 100, 150 people besides the players, significant others, and staff, that's a big crowd these days.
Yeah. But I guess regarding the actual game being played, um, there are people who feel like the players lack the ability that they once had, right? You don't see any, Clevie Wades, Clarence Parfitts, Gennaro Tuckers necessarily coming through as young players today. Like, what is being done to improve the game at youth level, to, ensure that our cricket is getting better?
Well, I think cricket or sports reflects the society that we live in. And so, not making any excuses, look at the society that we live in. Very advanced, very technically based, technology based. Young men and women looking to do things that were not available during our time. So, if we keep talking about the past, which is historical, I did not have a cell phone. I just about had a VHS player. So my outlet was school, church, out in the community until dark when the lights came on, playing football or cricket or running or swimming without a coach. We taught ourselves as friends, and we did a lot. Now with the options and opportunities available and the social climate, all those extra hours that we as young men were spending in the Clevie Wades and Gennaro Tuckers and others, that's no longer on the front foot. Now it's like you go to school, you come home, you play for a little bit with your friends, you get online. There's less activity even at a club setting where you went directly to your club after school and hung out, or weekends kids go for training and they leave directly after training with their parents. So there's an overall decline in actual on-field training and participation, and then definitely in cricket, which is a smaller window due to our climate and a smaller participation pool with the number of individuals that not watch but actually get on the field to play. It's a longer game. 50 overs, you're out there from 10 a.m. to could be 7. So you're probably getting at the ground about 8:30. T20 is 3 hours. So the game starts at 10, so you get in there about 8:45 until about 2. So it's a different setup from the football where 90 minutes you're in and out, and you can play nights as well. And there are also a little bit more competitions. But yeah, that's just a reflection of where we are in Bermuda, that society has moved away from being a traditional outdoor setup. We're moving more indoors, and the society's challenges also means that the safety and interest and affluent lifestyle as well. Before, if I went on vacation when I was young, I was lucky to go on the church trip. Right now, kids and families are traveling 3-4 times a year, so that also takes away from, especially in the summer, the availability of persons to play the game of cricket. But this is a global trend. Cricket in Jamaica and other parts of the world, even in our region where West Indies is popular, those islands are also facing decline in youth cricket and trying to figure it out.
Wow, that's so interesting to hear. And hi, good morning, Cal. How are you?
Morning.
I love hearing about you talking about, Bermuda youth and nostalgia. That really just took me back. Like, how we used to just play and play and play and play and be out and just teaching ourselves. I'm going to take it back to 2007. Bermuda participated in the Cricket World Cup. What is being done to ensure Bermuda can make it back to that level, back to the level of 2007?
Yeah, 2007, historical up until this day. When we speak about it, a big smile comes on my face.
Mm-hmm.
I was not into cricket heavily at that time, but as Bermudians, we know that was and will always remain a significant moment. What we're trying to do now, we've been close. 36 runs the last time we hosted the event in Bermuda. We almost qualified for that. We're going into a final round again in Toronto in June, where we will play Cayman and Bahamas and Canada. So that gives us another opportunity to qualify within 6 games. So we're not that far off, but when you go to a World Cup, it only allows one team in our region to advance, and you have to beat the best teams that are out there. The difference, what's happening now, is we have a very good team, but the teams that we have to play to actually make it to the World Cup, and we say Canada and USA, they have professional leagues. Their players are playing in professional tournaments all over the world, and they have a more robust schedule than Bermuda because they have qualified for additional tournaments. So they're playing maybe 10 months of international cricket throughout the entire year, where Bermuda, if we maybe play 6 or 7 weeks of international cricket, So you can say if we play 10 games, they're playing 50 games. So the more you play in against high opposition, on the odd occasion, we are getting close. We beat Canada in one match, they beat us, so we lost a net run rate. But on a consistent basis, the guy that's out there doing it 11 months of the year versus someone doing it 2.5 months of the year, they should beat you on an average out of 6 matches. You might win 1 or 2, but they should beat you with the other 4.
Well, of course, it makes sense. It's a numbers game. And Kamal Lebrock, one of Bermuda's best players, has revealed that he's open to returning to the national team. How important is it to have players of his caliber in the national setup?
Definitely. I mean, every country wants to have their best players. So Argentina's playing Brazil and Lionel Messi's not playing, and you will think, hey, that's not important because they have such a great team. But, you know, if one of your best players is unavailable, I know the coaches are scratching their head. I know when Jamel was coaching youth football at North Village, if one of his players wasn't available, he'll probably, you know, say it's okay, but it's like, hey, who am I going to put in that position? So to have someone of Mr. Lavrock's caliber and experience bodes well for any country in the Americas region, and especially Bermuda. We're very small. We don't have a lot of elite athletes. So to have him indicate that he wishes to return is fantastic. And hopefully, you know, with the team having him around in the near future, we can go and try to get close. I mean, we did get close when he was with us the last time. So hopefully he gets us over the line with his ability, and we can now talk about 2026, but also remember 2007. When we speak about 2007, I just looked up a word because I know that Jamel was going to ask me a question like this. You know, I think it was an anomaly. So, you know, it happened. But if you looked at it, did it happen before? Has it happened afterwards? No. So it was a significant moment in the ICC. Now you only have 1 team in our region that can qualify. Back then, did some historical research. There were 5 teams that were eligible. So now if it was 2 teams, we would have qualified last time with Canada. But there's only 1. So it became a little bit more difficult. It's a different competition. More countries are now playing cricket. We now have 98 countries playing cricket. Not all elite, but, you know, it's more competitive. And again, you know, I think that was a special moment. If Bermuda brings together a group of young men every 25 years that are actually going to have a good year and a half in any sport, that's amazing, because we're now down to 54,000 people. And I tell everyone, out of 54,000 people, we have to find politicians, which is easy, right, Jamel? We have to find doctors, lawyers, corporation in Hamilton, plumbers, laborers, what you and Jamel do, myself. And on top of that, there's individuals that also have to be athletes because they're not being paid as professional sportsmen or sportswomen. So they go to work, and after work, they have to train, or they take the lunch hour like, I forget what his name is, just on the show, used to do, Larry Marshall, and you should see him running, and his brother running all weekends. And then we forget they're still working. So we are so special just to be on the international stage with 54,000 people. You go anywhere else, you go anywhere in the world, there's no small USA town or English village where they can say they even had a team go to the World Cup, or even a player in the EPL sometimes, or representing the country. So, you know, we punch far above our weight with amateur environment, amateur infrastructure, limited financing, no professional setup. But what we do have is we have the passion for Bermuda and the Bermuda Cricket Board. So there's young men and women that actually do it. We want to be in, but I say hats off to you, because you really don't have to go out after a day of hard work talking about you're going to go training from 6 to 9 and then deal with your family, who are first and foremost. So, you know, what we do just by having a team on the international stage competing against nations with millions and millions of people, I'm very proud. I'm not always happy about the result, but I'm very proud that we can easily get onto that stage with limited funding.
Oh, and you really should be. I'm learning a lot this morning. I love Cut Match, by the way. And I love Cut Match. I do. I love them. I always go and sit in the stands with the elders, and they bring out the paper and they tell me everybody. And I learned all about the Colts last year and who were the new Colts. And I learn a lot. I love sitting with our Bermudian elders and learning all about cricket. It's for me, I always go the second or first day in the morning, and I kind of hang out and just hang with them. So I'm learning a lot from you this morning, Cal. Thank you so much. What's the biggest challenge local cricket is facing, and how, I think you just touched on this a bit, but if you could maybe elaborate a little bit more, the biggest challenge local cricket is facing, and how are you guys addressing it?
Biggest challenge we're facing is trying to get young people interested to play cricket, and then not only to try it out, but to stick with it for a longer period of time. We know that in the youth sports, drop off kicks in about 15, 16 when we all get our moped or bike, we become independent, and trying to get the young generation in this microwave world where, if you don't get onto your blog or onto your Instagram page in 30 seconds, you move on. Cricket is a very patient, more chess than checkers. You have to have good health, athletic ability, fitness, but you also have to have a lot of patience. And in this day and age, there are not too many adults that have a two-minute attention span. And if you're out there for 7 hours playing cricket, for that young individual to gradually get into that space, even a 2-hour game, which normally in football they're playing 45 minutes at a young age, that's difficult. So getting young people interested, keeping them in the game, and then also the adults that are older, they have to modify their training habits or their coaching. That what took place with Kamal Lavrock and Mr. Dwayne Sluggo Lavrock, our legend, and Gennaro Tucker, that no longer works with these youngsters. There's not going to stand still for 2 hours holding a bat, back foot up, lift. You have to teach them in a modern microwave world, and so that means the adults have to change, and that's a challenge even for myself. I would say, hey, come on, it's easy to get these kids out there. Oh, my mom can't bring me, but you only stay 20 minutes away. We used to walk or ride our push bikes, and now it's like, if my mom or dad can't bring me, I can't make it to the venue. But you're 12 years of age. I'm like, catch the bus. Nobody catches the bus anymore. So it's a different society.
So true.
Indeed. We've got, go to the audience a bit. We've got Dawn, Baby Rocco Dawn Lavrock says, I disagree, Jamel. There are a number of youngsters with immense talent. I don't think that's what I was saying, Dawn. What I was explaining is what Cal actually just said. We don't have the amount of people, and I think some of it comes down to we just don't have as many people in Bermuda anymore, right? So I think that's what I was explaining. We don't have as many local. Larry has said it on this show before, that even in the school system, they're not playing cricket like they once were. So that's what I was referring to. But obviously, yes, there are a number of young players who have left the island to develop. Marcus Scotland comes to mind, for instance, in the UK and other regions. But she's asking, Cal, what is the BCB doing or has done to monitor these players to integrate them into the national program?
Yeah, so we have a new program launched this year or late last year. Richard Black, who is a physical education teacher in the UK, approached us. He wanted to assist us with monitoring any players that were overseas, especially youth players. So now he provides regional training depending where they're based across the UK. And then at least once a month, those players come together outside of the programs that they're already involved in, because they're involved in their school academy teams or county teams or club teams. But the BCB doesn't always get to see what they're doing. So now they can come together at least once a month. He's able to, with the coaches he's hired, to assess them. A report is sent back to the Bermuda Cricket Board on their development. So now when we're selecting a team, we're not only saying, oh, because Jamel's in the UK, he must be doing great, even though we haven't seen you from up close. We're now able to get a monthly report on you, and then we're able to make better decisions to offer any support services, or even really sometimes get some hidden talent that we may not know that is actually part of Bermuda, and try to invite them into the program. So now we're a little bit closer. It is difficult. We're cross-border. We don't have professional scouts, but there's different ways you can do it now. So we are having some assistance. We're bringing in another individual shortly as well, because the UK is a vast country. And hopefully we can get more insight into those players that are actually leaving for opportunities, whether it's life or school, but still keep them connected to Bermuda with monthly feedback. So that's a very good change the BCB has made. It's new, but so far we received about 3 reports on the young men that are out there playing, and it's working. It's a work in progress, but it's a change we're making. And it's very affordable, instead of having a coach fly out of Bermuda every 3 months to follow up and travel all across the UK to see what's going on.
All right. We've got Karen Simmons asking, do we, because I know you mentioned no night games like football, but do we ever play night cricket in Bermuda? If not, why not?
No, we don't play night cricket at the moment. There are lights in Bermuda, but the lights are earmarked for football matches, and the lighting requirement for cricket for the small ball and the safety of the players. And and the illumination, it's a little bit different. It may seem easy to make those adjustments, but there is a cost factor because the lights have to be higher than the poles that are already on for football. We did play some night cricket at the National Sports Center. There was a natural disaster where 1 or 2 poles were blown down, and those poles haven't been replaced. So, you can't play football on the northern field, but cricket is not conducive on the south field for an international standard. You may be able to have a evening match, which means you start at 6 and finish about 8:30 as soon as sunset kicks in. But for the safety of the players, we don't have any venues for night cricket.
Indeed, thank you for that. We have Baby Rocker Dawn Leverock says, I also feel that we lack a consistent training program through the winter. Speak to that, because you mentioned, at the end of the day, it's amateur sport, right? So people have jobs, they have other things going on. It's not full time. And then the other thing is you have people. I'll use a Dion Stubble, both sports, right? Quite a few players play, football and cricket among having lives and families and so on. So how does that impact the ability to have winter training and program throughout the year?
The number one impact for training in the winter, it's first of all the facility. We do have usage of some school gymnasiums. I want to thank Cedar Bridge Academy and Bermuda High School for girls for allowing them to use their facilities because they're a little bit larger. Then the training consistency is normally based on the activity that we have. So we have the North American Cup coming up in mid-April to the end of April. But if this tournament wasn't taking place, then there's like a gap in the activity of training versus preparing for competition. And what we have seen is that even though we may want to put on training sometimes, if there's no competition behind it, the players do decide to go to a football training or to a football game because that's a competitive event for a sportsman. We can do better on the consistency. I definitely agree with that. But the number one thing we're facing now is that we do indoor training, but closer to competition, especially if it's in the off season, which is our winter. To get the hardball cricket and outdoors with our climate and limited access to a field, because most of the fields are used for football. And then the National Sports Center, which is a sports center, we can try to get it for cricket, but if rugby or any other events are scheduled, whether it's Relay for Life, etc., it doesn't allow us to get on there. So our main focus would be to get an indoor facility. That takes some funding, that takes some time, but I don't see a real change until we get our indoor facility with the nets that we can train 24/7, which is proper and not ad hoc at any of the local schools, which works, but it's not a real simulation of international cricket standards. And we've just heard that from the players as well. It's nice to go indoors with tennis, ball, cricket, but they're preparing for an international tournament. They have to simulate what's happening in the real world of cricket, which makes it a little bit more challenging until the climate changes, which is now.
All right. Dexter Smith said, correction, when Bermuda qualified for the 2007 World Cup, the 5 countries came from a global qualification process. That process remains the same for 50 overs. It's just that we have fallen so far down the qualifying pyramid, a repeat is improbable. Where qualification is restricted to one from the Americas region is the T20 World Cup. But saying that, there was a debate after the Olympics last year, with some in the audience, this audience saying that Bermuda has an opportunity to qualify in cricket for the Olympics. I have no idea how that qualification process works, but is there any prep or interest from the Bermuda Cricket Board in trying to ensure that we give ourselves an opportunity to participate?
Yes, we are a member now of the Bermuda Olympic Association, so cricket is scheduled to be held in the 2028 LA Games. Bermuda wishes to be part of that. However, at this moment, there has been no communication on the qualification process for anyone under the ICC. As far as I know, there may be a total of 6 teams playing in the Olympics, most likely T20. Is that going to be a team from each region? Is that going to be the best 6 teams under the ICC rankings? At that time, no one knows. Cricket is a powerhouse of the UK, West Indies, Pakistan, England, South Africa. How do they get 6 teams out of there? You definitely wouldn't probably have India, politically. So I'm not sure what that qualification process is going to be. But I think the best thing for Bermuda Cricket Board is that if that allows us to play another 6 to 10 matches a year as we aim to qualify, the outcome may not be that we qualify for the Olympics, but it will give our players and the BCB and the spectators additional matches to improve ourselves, test ourselves on additional countries outside of the norm, the Brazils, the Argentinas, the Bahamas. We may end up playing islands such as Trinidad and Jamaica and Dominica, because if they participate, it wouldn't most likely be a cricket West Indies, it would be individual territories, countries. So it would change the landscape. So now you can test yourself against a Barbados if they intend to put a team in. So, but we're waiting and seeing. So hopefully early next year, we'll know what the qualification process is, but no one knows yet. So we're waiting on the ICC and IOC to let us know.
Indeed. Thank you for that. We had Baby Rocco Don Lavrock says the interest in cricket needs to return at the primary middle school level to encourage interest and participation. Does the Bermuda Cricket Board work with the schools in terms of making that happen?
Yeah, recently. So for the last 2 years, we've been pushing to get cricket played again at the senior high school level. That was dormant for 12 years. We, in partnership with Cedar Bridge and Salters, were able to make that happen. They played a total of 3 matches, so that was fantastic. Out of that, we've partnered now with Bermuda School Sports Federation, and we're going to have a better relationship with them to make sure that cricket is a little bit more robust in the primary, middle, and high school. So that is an ongoing relationship where the BCB is not part of the education system, but we know that if we don't push it as being the national sports governing body, we have to get involved somehow, especially when it's not on the forefront of school activity and youth activity. So we have a better relationship now. So if we can improve from 0 matches to 10 matches to 25 matches to 50 matches over 5 years, in the next 5 years, we see improvement there. But at high school level, Cedar Bridge and Salters have already agreed to resume their competition, and they're looking to move from 3 matches to about 6. So that's already, 200% increase. So that's what we need for youth cricket to grow. So we're doing our part, and if the schools do their part with BSSF supporting us in the background, that's what it's going to take. The missing puzzle is once those kids play cricket in schools, we also need our clubs to be able to have youth programs at their clubs with coaches to absorb those kids that want to play beyond school, to also have a Western Star Sports Club, my club, or Devonshire Rack or Bayless Bay, to have youth teams similar to football with North Village, Devonshire Colts, and Dennytown. So that's the next step. So we're all in it together as a triangle. One piece of the puzzle cannot be missing, and if we stick together, we'll bring it back. I'm not going to say it's going to be cricket when Slugger was playing or Kamal, but if it's an improvement, at least 50% from where they were, that will be well for the future of cricket in Bermuda and the BCB.
Indeed. Thank you for that. I laughed earlier when Mia mentioned cup match, because again, that doesn't fall under Bermuda Cricket Board. And you mentioned earlier, we've got Smash, we've got Eastern Counties and Western Counties. I don't even know if we still do Central Counties.
Still do Central.
Central Counties. And we've got cup match. These events seem to turn out a greater, audience, fans and spectators than just regular cricket on a Sunday. Football is facing the same thing as you mentioned earlier. When I was young, I shared a video a couple of years ago on Twitter that everyone was sharing about a game at PHC. They used to be crazy rammed, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned it. It's you just don't get the same crowds, and a lot of things impact that. The amount of people that have left Bermuda, just people, technology, right? More things to do where you don't have to leave the house. But how can we get families back out to cricket beyond the cup matches and the smashes and the county? How can we get Mia and Gunnar to experience a regular Sunday cricket game at Bayless Bay Field or Devonshire Rack?
Now, there's an ongoing discussion right now within the cricket community. It's been going on for some time, and there's no wrong or right. So historical development cricket, ODI, 1 day, 50 overs. That means that in Bermuda, we have 6 venues where cricket's being played, whether it's a Saturday or Sunday. The T20, which brings a more vibrant atmosphere. So it's 4 teams at one location, 2 matches. So the crowds are a little bit bigger. So it all depends on what we're looking for as far as the atmosphere. The cup matches and county games and smash. And this has been said by some of them. It's cricket, but it's also a party. And, we love to party. The traditional cricket under the BCB, it's not a party, it's development. So I compare it to you're going to primary school, middle school, high school to get into college. You don't see a lot of people to those activities until you graduate and everybody says fantastic. So when you do the BCB leagues over so many years, you're graduating into being a cup match player, a national team player, and being selected for the various county teams. You see everyone there, but you don't see everyone when you're doing the hard work. You don't see when Mike Tyson's in the gym for 5 years sleeping on a mattress, but when it's actually on international stage, you have 80,000 people in Madison Square Garden. So that's where cricket is. It's happening. It's smaller groups. You don't see what's going on until you decide to come to one of the larger events. But cup match, even though the BCB is not responsible, if you don't have league cricket, you really don't have a vibrant cup match, because those players would have played about 20 to 25 games before they play cup match. So that is the development that leads into a fantastic historical spectacle and festive party atmosphere.
Indeed. Shawnette Bell's asking, I was going to make this my last question when the season starts, but she's asking, when will the schedule be available for this season?
Yeah, schedule should be coming out early next week. We had a meeting with the clubs last week, Thursday, I believe, at Cedar Bridge Academy. Once we meet with the clubs, we always take in some feedbacks if there are any tweaks to be done. And once we finalize 1 or 2 details this week, which we're actually working on the schedule this week. So I'm looking at just after April Fool's Day, because I don't want to send it out in a day and everybody thinks it's a joke. So probably April the 2nd, 3rd, we'll be releasing the schedule in full to the wider community, to our clubs first, and then to the wider community. But we're actually tweaking some final details right now. May seem like minor challenges for the general public, but transitioning from a football field to a cricket field, the pitch has to be rolled. People have to make themselves available. Sometimes it's the same individual at the club that's tired after 10 months of football, turning the ground over to cricket. So it's more than just putting out a schedule. We also have to work with our clubs, who are the owners of the venues and the fields. The BCB doesn't own any assets or real estate in Bermuda, but we do manage the playing of the game in partnership with our member clubs. And the member clubs are the same people like the players that have a full-time job elsewhere. They're giving themselves, sometimes without being compensated, to go back to the grounds to manage and administrate after not 10 months of football, another 4 months or 5 months of cricket. And they are really the hard workers behind the scene. Without the club administrators, presidents, and ground staff, sports would not be played, because they're not professionals. They're doing it out of the love of the heart. So we have to give them kudos and thank you right on this platform.
Indeed. Cal, thank you for this. And cricket's a long season. Please don't be a stranger. If there's anything we can communicate on your behalf, if we want to get your colleague Samantha on the show to discuss some of the other things happening, let us know. Reach out. We definitely have space to engage the community. As a child that grew up in and around cricket, the importance to just community. It was an all-day event. Like you said, it weren't like football, like 2 hours and you're done. It was an event where you spent time with people, and I don't think people understand the impact that had socially at the time, right? So I appreciate cricket. It's as many say, it's a gentleman's game. We do have one more question. Well, 2 questions that came through before we let you go, though. Dr. Smith, naughty rhetorical question. Naughty, he's such a I'm telling you. He says, how can the Bermuda Cricket Board be the governing body of cricket in Bermuda, as acknowledged by the ICC, when it does not govern so much of the cricket that goes on in this country? Cup match, Eastern Counties, Western Counties, Bermuda Smash Invitation.
Very simple. So the Bermuda Cricket Board was formed after the majority of those competitions were already in place, besides the Smash, because Eastern County and Cup match have been going on for over 100 years. The Cricket Board is not that old as of yet. We do have relationships with them. So we've had an MOU with the Eastern County, West Central County in the past. We're looking to have an MOU with them again. We are part of the Smash, not because we govern and manage the Smash, but the Smash requires a sanction from the Bermuda Cricket Board to be able to facilitate cricket in Bermuda. And similar to a relationship, if someone's been managing their sport for such a long period of time, and we've told the ICC that they were here before the BCB, so they have already shown the BCB how to manage and play the game, because the Eastern Counties operates independently, the Central and Western Counties. So we're not going to be a big brother that, okay, I'm here now, I'm going to take over. Our relationship in Bermuda is a little bit different from the United States and Canada, where their governing bodies were set up and then cricket came after us. Technically, those forms of cricket were heard before the BCB was formed. So we're actually behind them. So we have to have a healthy relationship and not, a big brother relationship. We're telling what to do. We monitor what they do from a distance, and those events are held every year at a high level and very successful. So, it's more us collaborating than saying, hey, how are you managing your events? Because we can see that they do quite well. So it's a different relationship. I know sometimes we want to be like, I'm in charge.
Mhm.
I say this all the time, to be in charge of cup match, Eastern County and Western County, I wouldn't even have time to talk to you, because managing the cricket board with 2 staff members is a full-time triple job, right? So you don't want to manage cup match or Eastern County or Central County. You want to have a relationship with them and make sure if they need something or vice versa, because it's only 2 people.
Don't give you more work. Karen Simmons just wants clarity. It's the Smash New Cricket competition that you're talking about, Stephen Otterbridge involved in. Is that the same thing she's asking?
Yes, Stephen Otterbridge and a few others are involved in that. They're doing an excellent job, bringing a different form of cricket to Bermuda, more of a festive cricket event with international players that are able to share their experiences and show what international cricket is in a very robust T20 format. And the players out of the BCB are part of that. And it just gives them another opportunity to put themselves on the international stage and hopefully to represent Bermuda. We're very happy with the Smash. This year is a good domino effect. The league will start. It will see us. No, we go to the North American Cup, play 6 matches, 4 to 6 matches. We come back and have the league start. We go directly into the Smash. We leave directly after the Smash to go to Toronto. So all of the competitions are working together, and hopefully this gets us over the line to qualify for the World Cup. So, without each other, the BCB or the other programs wouldn't have the opportunity to be where we are, because we all need each other in this small island to run anything, but definitely the sport of cricket. So we're happy with the Smash Group and all others that are out there offering their services to elevate the sport of cricket.
Indeed. Cal, thank you so much for the conversation today. Like I said, please keep in touch. Let us know what's going on. And all the best in the upcoming cricket season. And may the best players give Bermuda the best opportunity to make it to the Olympics and continue to thrive on the international stage. Have a wonderful day, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Cal Blankendal, folks, if you appreciate that conversation, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. We have a daily play coming up after this break. Baby Dawn Levrock, Dexter Smith, Cameron Fox cannot answer this question. You're disqualified. Stick with us. We'll be back in 1 minute, 55 seconds with the daily play, and we'll wrap it up. Stick with us.